I don't even think it's debatable. I think it's an inarguable fact that Eddie Van Halen is one of the greatest guitar players in all of rock and roll history, okay? And one of my favorite guitar solos of his is, oddly enough, from a pop song. It wasn't even from a Van Halen song. It's Michael Jackson's Beat It solo. It's just, what can you really say about it? I don't think, it just speaks for itself why it's so fucking great. But, you know, Eddie was somebody who, even to this day, I don't think he's ever been replaced. I think to me, after Hendrix, it was Eddie that carried the torch as like the quintessential guitar hero. And I don't know that anybody else has really ever picked that up, even to this day. Maybe like Yngwie, but I would say that like Eddie Van Halen and Yngwie Malmsteen are the two guys that are most responsible for like where, like especially in the world of metal, where like guitar players are today. Like they were the two guys that were like responsible for shaping what a guitar hero would be moving forward. And I still think they're two of the most very important guys. That said, when we talk about Eddie, it's like, you know, there are guys today that can play faster and more technically, but there's a certain soul and a certain passion and a certain fire that Eddie still has even in his old age today that it's just, you can't emulate it. You can try, but you'll never capture some of those nuances that he was. I mean, when you look at the Beat It solo, the slow, you know, the whammy in and like some of those pinch harmonics from hell, it just, you can do you can practice all day and never quite get there, right? But it got me thinking, like, you know, I would be curious to see who has come closest. In the world of YouTube, there are billions of videos out there. And there are probably, you know, at least 1 million people who have taken a stab at covering this guitar solo because it's so popular. So I wanted to find the fucking best ones. Like, who came closest? It's impossible to fucking completely replicate it, but who came closest? So I wanted to maybe compile a list of about 5. The top 5 covers of this solo that I thought were the best. And so my criteria for this is tone, accuracy, and just and heart and soul, because I think those 3 elements are very important. Obviously, Eddie's tone is very unique. It's something he's known for. But you have to be able to play the fucking solo, of course, so accuracy matters. But beyond that, you have to be able to play with that same fucking passion that Eddie has. So let's dig into the top 5 Beat It solo covers. All right, so coming in at number 5, we have Irene Hideki from Greece. I really hope I'm saying that name right. Let me just put this out there right now. Not a single one of these guitar players is from the United States. So there's a very good chance I'm going to just slaughter every single one of their names. So please, I apologize in advance, forgive me. But Irene comes in at number 5 simply because of the fact that, you know, look, she goes her own way with it. And the thing for this was I was trying to kind of find who could come closest to the original, right? And so, but despite the fact that she kind of goes her own way with it, she takes some liberties with the whammy bar and spots, and she's playing in standard E tuning instead of tuning a half step down. She's not trying to fucking emulate it 100%. But despite the fact that that's not her goal, she still comes in, to me, closer than, you know, I've probably watched over 100 videos of people taking a stab at this fucking solo, and she comes closer than a lot of the more like technically accurate fucking players, just because she brings that like fire, that passion, the heart and soul that I was talking about earlier. That's such a key component to capturing the whole vibe around this solo. So kudos to her, phenomenal job. Yeah, Irene Hideki, number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Jacob Duraps. I don't fucking know. Again, I'm going to butcher these names. But I actually got, he was put on my radar a little while ago when I was actually looking up a cover version for Van Halen's Fools guitar solo, and I saw him knock that out of the park. And, you know, he didn't let me down here, of course. I wasn't surprised when I came across his version of the solo, and he absolutely aced it. The only reason he's not higher on the list is because maybe there was a couple spots where the timing just felt a little weird to me. I can't even really explain it. I think maybe he emphasized a couple things differently than I would have expected, but, you know, let me just put this out there. I hate critiquing any of these players because every single one of them I thought did a phenomenal job and far better than I could do. So I feel like kind of shitty saying, oh, well, this guy fucking, you know what I mean. We got to rank him somehow, and as great as it was, he comes in at number 4 on the list. Jacob Duraps from French Canada. Now that we're in like the top 3, it gets really fucking tough, because these last 3 guys I feel like all came super close. But if I'm gonna be honest, I'll go with Lee Q at number 3. Look, if I was to put his hair into the equation, he would probably get the number 1 spot. When you combine the hair with the actual guitar that he's playing with it, I just felt like he captured probably Eddie's tone. You know, it's not the best quality recording of the bunch, but I just felt like that tone came through really nicely, and he's got the technique down. I mean, the timing was a little off in spots like Jacob. I feel like maybe his timing could have been a little bit better, but the overall soul, the attitude, the tone, everything else was like 100% fucking there. And I will say that out of every player, I think one of the key things about this solo, outside of the whammy bar, is the pinch harmonics. And I think he probably did the best job at capturing that little, I don't know, getting that squeal just right. I think Lee probably came closest to emulating Eddie perfectly in that regard. So hats off to Lee Q from Taiwan. And the number 2 spot, the silver medal, goes to Antonio Cordaro, I don't know. He's from Italy. Look, this guy aces the entire thing. The tone's there. The technique is there. It's note for note accurate. And the thing that I love about his version is that he provides a nice little tutorial through it. That's the whole point. His video is a tutorial video, and he just aces the whole thing. And you know, the only thing that kept him out of the number 1 spot for me is he looks a little bored. He actually plays it probably cleaner than Eddie does. And he's just like chewing his gum and going through it like it ain't shit. And I'm sure it's not for him. He's that good of a player. But it also kind of, I think, shows that the one thing that he's lacking is like that passion, that heart, that fire that, like I said, I gave Irene such high points for. I feel like maybe that's the one thing that I could criticize about Antonio's performance, is that you could tell he was almost kind of going through the motions, making a tutorial video, and so maybe it wasn't his point to nail it on the same, to be that accurate. But I think if he just put a little more fucking stank on it, just put his balls in it a little bit more, it would have been as close as humanly possible as replicating Eddie Van Halen. So nice job, well done, and thanks for the tutorial, Antonio. The number one spot goes to Fredrik Bang from Denmark. You know, I looked him up. He's a really young guy. I think maybe 20, 21 years old. I don't think he's even been playing 10 years. And to be able to play on the level that he's playing is just fucking phenomenal. I've actually watched a bunch of his videos. He covers Eric Johnson and anything you can think of. He's got like a Freebird solo cover, Cliffs of Dover. I mean, any classic rock solo this dude has performed and completely aced. He captures the fucking attitude. He captures the accuracy. He's got the heart. He's got the soul. He's got the tone. Everything going for him. I do think Antonio probably came a little bit closer technically to emulating Eddie, but like I said, that one thing he was lacking, that heart, that soul, I think Fredrik just has. He's got everything going for him, and I think he has done the best job of anybody that I've seen at truly capturing the essence of Eddie Van Halen and coming closest to replicating that solo. So there it is. There's the list. All of these players are phenomenal, and maybe, you know, if I'd have done this video on a different day, maybe I would have flipped a couple guys around here or there. But what do you guys think? And if there are any YouTube covers that you have found for this guitar solo, throw them my way. Let me know. I'd certainly be interested to hear more. But before I go, I just wanted to leave you guys with one more take on this solo that I absolutely fell in love with. And the only reason I didn't put it on the list is because he goes so in his own fucking direction with this that I couldn't put him up against anybody else. And it's probably very fortunate for the rest of the players, not knocking you guys, but this guy is fucking insane. You know, I remember I've seen a few videos where there was actually some attempts without the fucking, you know, trem bar, like with no whammies, and playing on a fixed bridge, and every single one of them fell flat. And I started telling myself, there's no way you can fucking take a stab at this solo without the fucking whammies, without the fucking Floyd Rose, without the fucking trem bar. And you know what? There's a guy named Charlie Para del Riego that says otherwise. So check this out. I'm going to leave you with this. I'm sure many of you will think it's shitting all over the original. Tough shit. I think it's one of the fucking most awesome things I've ever heard. So here it is. And I will see you guys in the next video.